And joining us now with more on Meta's announcement to remove certain posts attacking Zionists is ILTV's Emily Schrader. Emily, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, Emily, this is an issue you've been involved with for quite some time. Meta acknowledging that anti-Zionism is in fact anti-Semitism. And how significant is this decision?
Well, this has been a long time coming. This is a project that I've worked on along with more than 125 different Jewish and pro-Israel organizations who have called on Meta, as well as X, now under Elon Musk, and TikTok, of course, to adopt the IRA definition of anti-Semitism, which basically says that there's classical and modern anti-Semitism. And that modern anti-Semitism, of course, is what we see today under the name of anti-Zionism. And so it's a huge success that finally we have been able to get Meta to agree that this is the modern form of anti-Semitism, the manifestation of the classical blood libels and tropes that we hear, the conspiracies. They're only replacing the word Jews and Judaism with Zionist and Zionism. And so to have that acknowledged is a great step forward in the battle against, honestly, all forms of hate speech on social media.
Mm-hmm. And the announcement is, of course, welcome. But are you expecting them to actually be able to enforce this? Because, doesn't it come down to the moderators in the end?
Yeah, so all of the social media platforms have struggled with enforcement, even from Holocaust denial, because sometimes they're unable to find it. Sometimes it's done by an individual moderator who doesn't really understand the context. And that's why we advocated for the adoption of the IRA definition as a training tool for content moderators. I don't know that we're at that point with Meta or with any of the platforms, but this is certainly a step forward. And I think that we will see positive change in the next coming years when it comes to dealing with this issue, at least from Meta, who have been very amenable from day one to conversations and listening to the needs of the Jewish community, as well as other persecuted minority groups. Whether that will be enforced immediately, I don't know. It remains to be seen. Again, it is a complex issue, and there is context that matters on these issues. But to see them taking initiative and adding this formally is a great step forward. And I hope that the other platforms follow suit as well, because it is badly needed on X as well as TikTok.
So you mentioned X, you mentioned TikTok. That leads me to my next question. Really, how does Meta's policy now compare to other social media platforms? Do TikTok, do X, do they have some kind of policy in place like Meta now?
So all the social media platforms do have some form of policy in place. Enforcement is a different question. We know that all of them have banned Holocaust denial, for example, but we still see Holocaust denial regularly, especially on platforms like TikTok and on X. We see a lot of neo-Nazi content, not a lot of content getting removed or even censored in one way or the other. So they have not stepped up to the plate when it comes to dealing with, especially since October 7th, the massive increase in online anti-Semitism that unfortunately has led to in-person anti-Semitism, even violence against Jews all over the world. So it's urgent. We need all of these social media companies to work together to develop a policy that identifies this content, that shuts it down, or at the very least places a warning so that other people getting this content know that the consensus Jewish community finds this anti-Semitic, that it is a risk, and that it impacts people in real life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, Emily, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about this very important issue. Thank you so much.
Thanks.